I was an art school dropout and a record store clerk. It's hard to say what that deciding factor was that led me to Hollywood. Maybe it was Tom Petty. I interviewed him for a Free Press magazine. Tom looked me up and down and said, "With your looks, Blondie, you were meant to be in L.A." I followed my treasure map to the Sunset Strip. The year was 1982.
You heard great music on the radio, in the record shops, and you just thought, wow, this stuff's amazing. I gotta be part of that. I gotta hear it. I gotta buy it. I gotta be a fan of it. And I wanna make it.
There was a feeling that if you worked hard enough, and if you toured and toured and toured and toured, that you could break.
I felt really lucky to land a job at Licorice Pizza, a record store across the street from the Whiskey A Go-Go. One day, Nicky Sixx walked in. I'd never seen anything like him before. He invited me to a Motley Crue show, and I was hooked. Glam and metal would rule my life for the next 10 years. I became a booking agent and started booking Stryper, along with many others, including an upstart called Black Sheep that had an amazing guitar player named Slash. Then one day, Axl Rose and Izzy Stradlin, who later became Guns N' Roses, walked through my door at the agency, and together we made rock and roll history.
The 80s were a very creative period, which also allowed for wonderful parties with unlimited expense accounts.
We had more fun in the 20th century than people are having in the 21st century in the rock and roll business.
Everybody was actually making money, where the bands were making money and the record companies were making money, and it was all fun and easy back then.
I was offered an A&R job at Geffen Records. I jumped at the chance. Out of the fire, into the frying pan. Then at the beginning of the digital age in the mid-90s, the music business started changing, and so did I.
Steve Jobs showed up with Apple, and he almost single-handedly usurped the whole distribution of music.
And the MP3 is a great thing. You know, it's a great thing, but what it was is that it took the record companies by surprise.
Something new comes into existence, and you can look at it, and you know that in the end, everybody's going to be doing it this one way. There's some too huge an advantage about it, that life is going to change, but the companies that are making the current way product don't want it to change. They fight and they resist, and yet they don't jump in, and they lose out by not being early in the game.
Major labels were it was the ultimate, but it just couldn't sustain itself because they couldn't make enough money. They couldn't make the same kind of money that they once did, so therefore the major labels aren't what they used to be. They've had to downsize.
I remember the fateful day, Black Friday. Geffen shut down, Elektra shut down, Chrysalis shut down, and everybody who worked at any one of those record companies were walking up and down Sunset Boulevard with these boxes with their office, with the contents of their office in the box. And it was really sort of a end of an era.
You know, CDs will become a thing of the past over the next few years. It's a sad thing, but that's inevitably the case.
And with the CDs, maybe that's when they started gouging. It's like, okay, this little piece of plastic that costs us 25 cents to make, we're gonna charge you $18.99 for that. You know, and that was, to me, really the beginning of the downfall. When the digital medium came along and people saw the opportunity, the door was cracked open and they wedged their boots in there and said, you know what? $18.99, I'm gonna take this for free.
Unfortunately, the culture has evolved to a place that, you know, I don't think we're going to be able to make much money off music anymore.
When I got my statement from iTunes and I'm looking at it, some of the statements were literally a penny, and it made me angry. You know, I'm just like, what the hell is this? A penny for my song?
It was quite rightly called the music business because music came first. And then in the last few years, it's business. You know, it should be called the business of music because it's run by a bunch of bean counters and people that only care about profits.
These 360 deals that record companies are doing right now are necessary for the record companies not necessary for the artist.
It used to be that the heads of the labels would be very excited to see their bands on the cover of Rolling Stone or getting a big piece in Billboard, and then that sort of switched over to being our labels being talked about in the LA Times business section.
You had the world by the balls, you had the world by the balls, and you just let it all go. You screwed yourselves, and you even screwed us. Where's the music now?
Today I co-manage an amazing new band from Sydney, Australia, called The Art. After many years in the music business, I have seen everything it has to offer, the good, bad, and ugly.
You can find another avenue to take and another way of doing it so that you can get the record out there and market it and find the money to do it yourself. I would opt for that.
What the trend has been is for artists to become their own record company.
Now it's got to be like, I got a blog and I got these books on the side and I'm selling dolls.
But now we do everything. You know, we have our own iPhone app, you know, thecrystalmethod.com. We tweet, we've got a MySpace and a Facebook.
So yeah, can someone just purely go out there and do music?
Put together bands that have long-lasting careers, not just bands that are in it to make a quick buck, and managers and record labels in it just to make a quick buck for the time. If I ran the music business, I would say fuck the business and make good music.
I understand Azaria completely. After 30 years in the music business, I know it's harder than ever to make it. We have our work cut out for us.